G'day, Ben Amos here from Engage Video Marketing, and in this video I'm going to break down the do's and don'ts for video marketing in 2020. Let's go. G'day, I'm Ben Amos from Engage Video Marketing, and I'm here to help you engage your ideal audience to action through effective online video strategy. And if you're new here to this channel, I'd love for you to hit subscribe and then hit that little bell icon to catch up with every new video as it releases. I'm doubling down on my video strategy in 2020, and I hope you are too. So keep watching. In this episode, I'm going to share with you my top 5 do's and don'ts when it comes to your video marketing in 2020. These are the things that I think that you guys need to be focusing on. And if you are focusing on these things already, awesome, you're doing a great job. And you just got to keep on going. But if there are 1 or 2 things that I can share with you that'll help you up your video marketing game, then my work here is done. Now, I just want to do a quick shout out to Pat Flynn from the Smart Passive Income podcast, as I got inspired by his podcast that he released recently at the start of 2020, which was all about the do's and don'ts of email marketing. And I'm basically going to take that idea and bring it to you guys now in this episode. Okay, so when it comes to video marketing in 2020, my first do is you need to consider your audience first. So do consider your audience with every piece of content that you create. And what I mean by that is you need to really understand the customer avatar or your audience avatar, and not just at a surface level, not just demographically, but you really need to understand them psychographically and do a bit of a behavior profile on them as well, so that you actually know what is making them tick. Because when you understand your audience and you know what's making them tick, then you can understand what they care about, and therefore what content you can create that's going to cut through and actually mean something to your ideal audience. So by understanding your audience, you're going to know what videos to make. You're going to know where those videos need to be distributed, and you're going to have some real insight into how to create a cohesive video marketing strategy across the full customer funnel. Because when you understand your audience better than they understand themselves, it becomes much easier to actually create content that moves them to take the right sort of action. So with every do in this episode comes a don't. And the don't here is don't position yourself as the hero. So I need you to know your audience and recognize that your audience is the hero of your content. You can't be positioning yourself as the hero and expect people to really care. In episode 127 of the Engage Video Marketing Podcast, I interviewed Dr. JJ Peterson from StoryBrand. Now, these guys are absolute leaders in the world of storytelling when it comes to business. And one of their key mindset shifts that they share throughout all of their content is that you are not the hero of your own story. Every day, your customers, your audience are waking up and they're the heroes of their own story. And when we're creating content that's designed to cut through to those people, we need to recognize and position them as the hero, not ourselves as the hero of the story. Okay, number 2 is do create content for your primary platform first. So what I mean by that is it's critical in 2020 to be producing your video content in a platform native way. So what I mean by platform native is that the production considerations, things like screen ratio or the size of the actual frame that you're producing your video in, the way that you use captions or titles on the screen, or even the duration of your video or the way that the video is actually structured, all of those decisions need to be made in a way that is recognizing the nuances of the individual platforms that you're going to be publishing on. Because the reality is that YouTube is a different platform to Facebook video, is a different platform to LinkedIn video and Instagram video. Every social media platform is a video platform these days, and we need to be creating content with production considerations aligned to what I call the primary distribution platform. And how do you decide on the primary distribution platform for your video strategy? Well, it's a decision you need to make as a business owner, as a content creator. And ultimately what it comes down to is aligning your primary platform as the primary growth platform for you and your business. So making a decision about where do I want to focus my time, attention, and energy in 2020 on growing my main influence and reach. If that's YouTube, then you need to be creating your content primarily in a style that is relevant and native to the YouTube platform first, and then looking for ways to repurpose that content into other platforms, rather than And this is my don't for this second point here. Don't be creating and releasing the same content on every platform without changes. And I see this time and time again, and it's a number one mistake when it comes to video marketing strategy in 2020. You can't just be releasing the same video unedited, unchanged on every single platform. Taking the video that you upload onto YouTube and sticking it up as is on Facebook, on LinkedIn, just posting it everywhere and hoping that as many people as possible see it. So what I want you to be doing in 2020 is actually looking at ways to repurpose the video that's created for your primary platform and repurpose it natively into different formats for different social media platforms. So if you take YouTube as a primary platform, then you can quite easily take extracts, a shorter extract perhaps, to use on the Instagram feed. And that would need to be edited into, say, a square aspect ratio using burnt-in captions. So embedding that 16:9 or widescreen video into a square frame. There's a number of different ways to do this, and we're not going to go into that now. But by considering the native language and visual language of each individual platform, that's where you can start to really win with video marketing in 2020.
Did you get that, did you?
Okay, we're rolling on with number 3, and this hinges off the platform native thing that we were talking about before, because my third tip is do use captions on social platforms. Now, importantly, I'm not talking about SRT files. I'm not talking about your subtitle files, which you may use on YouTube or potentially on LinkedIn or Facebook as well. I'm talking about burnt-in captions. Now, burnt-in captions are basically when the captions or the transcript of what's being said in the video is overlaid as a text element or a text overlay onto the video. So you see this all the time from people like Gary Vee, for example, where on Facebook or Instagram, you don't need to enable the sound to know what Gary is saying because the captions are actually burnt in as text on the bottom of the screen. Now, when it comes to using burnt-in captions on social, it's critical that you can consider how to create those burnt-in captions in a way that creates a visual style for your brand. You don't want your videos looking like everyone else's videos, and by using burnt-in captions and certain frames to embed a video in a platform native format like that, you can really capitalize on the visual style that's going to make your content stand out in the newsfeed. And my don't when it comes to burnt-in captions is don't forget about the value that lies in the headline. So when you are going to the effort of creating burnt-in captions for your videos, you need to consider what's normally at the top of the frame in those social versions of your video, which is typically the headline. And that headline text shouldn't just be the title of your video. It needs to be a benefit or an emotional-led hook. So that text really becomes your opportunity to stop the thumb scrolling as your audience is scrolling through a social media feed. So really make the most of that headline space that you've got when you're creating burnt-in captions on your videos within some kind of a square or vertical video frame. My fourth tip is do pay attention to the metrics that matter so that you can refine your video strategy moving forward. And what I mean by the metrics that matter is whatever publishing platform you're distributing your video content on in 2020, you need to be thinking about what data do you have access to and how can that data inform your strategy moving forward. So whether it's looking at on YouTube impressions and click-through rates so that you can optimize your thumbnails to ensure that you're better positioning your content for the audiences and the algorithms in order to be seen by the right people at the right time. Or whether you're just looking at retention. One of the critical pieces of data when it comes to online video is how long are people actually watching your videos for. So take some time to understand the data. Look at those places where people are dropping off in your retention graphs, whether that be on YouTube or on Facebook, and identify based on that information how you can better improve your video content and strategy moving forward. But my don't here when it comes to understanding the metrics around your video strategy is just don't let the metrics and the data get in the way of you actually taking action. I would much prefer you, and I'm taking a leaf out of my own book right now with my own video strategy. I'd much prefer you to be getting the content out there and worrying about analyzing the data later, rather than getting bogged down in this paralysis by analysis and spending too much time obsessing over the data and not worrying about getting the content out there in the first place. So don't let the metrics and the data stop you from just producing content. And tip number 5 for your video marketing in 2020 is consider where video fits within your full video marketing funnel. You see, video is so much more than just marketing and advertising. Video can be used effectively all the way through from the awareness phase, right through that process of consideration where people are weighing up whether or not they'll take further action with you or your brand, right through into the sales process when you're actually looking to convert a sale and attract some income into your business, all the way through to after the sale in what I call the delight phase, which is your opportunity when you do have new clients, you do attract that conversion and you do make that sale, using video as a way to improve the customer experience so that people not only buy from you, but they love you and they talk about you and they rave about you. The more you can integrate video strategically across the full video funnel, the more effective you're going to be with each individual piece of content, because one piece of content feeds into the next. So my big don't here when it comes to using video all the way through the marketing funnel is don't see video simply as a promotional tool. In fact, in many cases, depending on your strategy, you don't want to be selling or seen to be selling within your video strategy. You want to be leading with value, helping people, creating content that betters your audience's life, because doing that consistently builds the trust, builds the relationship, and people will buy from you. They will seek out ways to buy from you if you have something to sell them. You don't need to be shoving it down their throats. Okay, so that's my 5 tips for video marketing in 2020. It's think of your audience first. It's consider using platform native content and understanding your primary platform first. It's understanding when and how to use burnt-in captions on your videos. It's analyzing and paying attention to the metrics so that your video strategy can be refined and you can move forward with the right sort of data behind you. And number 5, understand where video fits along the full marketing funnel and capitalize on video in different ways along that journey in order to move people to take the right sort of action with you and your brand. But don't go anywhere, because there is one more important and probably the biggest tip that I can leave you with for 2020 to nail your video marketing. And that is, don't do video for video's sake. As video has become more and more democratized, the ease of which we can create video simply with the smartphone in our pocket is in everyone's hands. Now, what that means is that it's easier to create video than ever in 2020. But the problem is, the more video that's being created without a strategy, it's just adding to the noise. And we video strategists don't want to be adding to the noise. So in 2020, we're going to nail our video strategy and we're going to create video that's effective at moving people to take the right sort of action. Are you with me? Let's do this. All right, so I'm keen to hear what you're planning on doing with your video marketing in 2020. Hit me up in the comments below and let me know what's your focus when it comes to your video marketing this year. And if you want to learn more about video marketing, there's another great video for you to watch right here, right now. So click on in and I'll see you in the next video.